Hey, welcome to the show. Today I'm live as every Wednesday answering your questions. I'll start quick with a question a user asked me between the Pentax 6x7 and the Mamia RZ, which one was best. In my opinion, it's the RZ. Changeable backs, as someone was asking, digital back too if you want that. Focus with bellows, which means you can go extra close. Yeah, sound was fine on Instagram, but I'm recording for the YouTube, so sorry guys. What else? Max speed is 1/400th on this one, 1000 on the Pentax, and this one has never broken on me, and this one has. This one's jammed, the advanced lever won't advance. I have to open the top and move a little thing in there, and it will let me shoot one frame, and then it'll jam again. I have to send it to get fixed. It's already being fixed once. It happened again. I'm pretty angry about that, and it makes me not want to shoot this 6x7 too, which everyone's so eager to get. And my old and reliable 6x7 Pentax works fine. I actually bought it for 150 bucks as a second body, and it's turned out to be my main body. Someone also asked me, why don't you use the grip on the 6x7? This one is the 6x7 too. It has a built-in grip, as you can see here. He was asking me about those Snap-o grips, and honestly, those Snap-o grips are like 139 bucks. They look really well made, but paying a body for 150 bucks and buying a wooden grip for 139 plus shipping, it means the grip would cost more than the body, and I'm not willing to do that. I'm not that kind of person that thinks that's a compliment is more important than the main camera. So I'll keep on shooting without a grip, and I'm happy about it. So that would be the question. I will make a video comparing both the Pentax and the Mamia, shooting with both of them. Carlo asked about Bronicas. I do have a Bronica 645 somewhere on the table here. I'm kind of a mess all over the place. As I got a studio, I'm moving everything there, and I have cameras everywhere, film everywhere. Daniel asking, hey, nice to see you here. I've always wanted one of these, but I get nervous about the electronic internals. I'm a pretty much mechanic guy. I love mechanical cameras. I made a video the other day shooting the Pentax at the studio, and I run out of batteries on both Pentax 6x7 at the studio. This is the third camera here. And honestly, these bodies, the Mamia RZ and the Pentax 6x7, are so cheap that I'm not so concerned of the electronic internals. You can, yeah, I know, the studio, I'm so excited about it. You can always just change the body, get a new body. The Mamia are like 300 bucks. I paid 350 for the Mamia RZ, the 110. This is not the 110. Normal back and a waist level finder. So 350 minus the lens, what, 200 for the body? Not too concerned for that failing. If it fails, I just change the body. And I always like having a few spare bodies. So yeah, I'm not concerned about that. Walker says rotating back seems so convenient. One thing that I envy being a Pentax 6x7. Walker, I actually shoot the shift, the shift lens for the Pentax, and it's a huge pain because you can only shift one way, you know, every way, but with a camera like this. If you want to put it like this, it's horrible. There's no hot shoe to put a level on, like a bubble level. There's no like easy way to mount your camera like this and know that you're perfectly straight. So if you want to shoot architecture, I also have the tilt, sorry, not the tilt, the shift lens for the Mamia, and it's so much nicer. Hot shoe here, you put your bubble level and you just turn the back and you shift up and down or whatever you want, depending if you want to shoot portrait or, you know, horizontal. Dashan is, I'm eyeballing the Rollei RPX MF film. Any experience? Thanks, Stuart. Stuart, I'm not a big, I'm not very, like, basically I've never used Rollei film. So I can't tell you. I do know a few people that have used it. I've heard good things, bad things. Rollei film is made by Mako Direct, in Germany, and I can't tell you. I'm sure that it's not a bad film, but at the end of the day, for $5 to $6, I just stick to, like Daniel said, classic. Sorry, but Tri-X is not my favorite, as I've had a lot of quality issues with Kodak. You guys might have heard Kodak Ektar 100 has had backing problems. T-Max 100 has had backing paper problems. I've had friends with Portra have backing problems. So to me, it's Ilford HP5, like 20 Focar says. This is a 35. I have some 120 in a box somewhere here. So yeah, I just stay with classic film. You can try it out, see what you like, but honestly, something works. I don't think there's a big reason to change it. But yeah, Ilford for me. I shoot some Fuji Acros, which is discontinued now in sheet film. As Tao says, the RPX 100 is great, but no experience with the 400. That's for the rolly film. As Daniel says, the Ilford film is cheaper, especially in the States. In Europe, it's kind of the same price for a certain, like 35, they're close. 120, they're a little closer. Then 4x5 Kodak and Ilford have a huge difference, and 8x10 it's like ridiculous. 8x10 for example, Ilford HP5 in Europe is like 135, 140 euros, and Kodak is probably like 10 bucks or 10 euros per shot, so that would be 100 euros for a 10 sheet box, not a 25 like Ilford. So yeah, I say if you want to try rolly film, try it out, but I haven't tried it out yet. I know that there's a YouTuber, Tim Hubick, who has, yeah, I know, $100 for HP5. You guys are very lucky. Tim Hubick did a few videos on rolly film, so you can check his channel out. He's got the wasted film, or waste of film, hashtag on Instagram and stuff like that. He's a good guy. I actually met him at Photokina. And I know he's got a relationship with Macro Direct, and he probably can help you out about the rolly film. So I'm going to start with Svein had some questions. This is being covered by me in different videos, and he's asked mostly about Hasselblad cameras. Okay, he says, in the future I would like to buy a Hasselblad film camera, but I don't need the biggest and best. Also, I don't know enough about different models in the 500 series to understand the differences. Why are some models double in price? So the 500 series is what they call the V series. First, Hasselblad had the what is it? The 1000F, the 1600F versions, which are the old ones with the Kodak lenses. Then they started with Carl Zeiss, and they came out with the 500CM. No, 500C was the first one. No interchangeable focusing screen, not by you. You had to take it to a proper store and get it fixed, like a repairman would change it and put it all together, calibrate it. And then they came out with a 500CM that to me is the best of them all. Then they came out, I don't know, with the 501, then they had the 501C, then they had the 503 CX, CW. If you want to get a 500, then they have the electric motors, which is the 500EL, then the ELM, and then the 500 ELX and the 553 ELX. I mean, there's all these numbers. There's a book that I've shown on a video. I think I made a video called The Cheapest Camera to Buy or something like that. It was, I guess, not a clickbait, but it was something like it. And you guys can find out the book. It's like Hasselblad manual. It has all the information you want. They're like 20 bucks on Amazon, secondhand, even in Europe. And that will help you a lot in choose what model. But to me, the best one is the 500CM. They do say it does some vignetting on your focusing screen with lenses over 150. I shot it with a 250 millimeters and it worked great, so I don't think it's that big of a concern. It also has a few features that don't have in the future ones, like the self-timer, self-timer on the shot. Like it has like a release. I mean, it has a few things that I like better than the other ones. I don't need flash metering like the 503CX or CXI. I don't need like the rewind grip like the 503 CW, which is the last one they made. And if you find big differences in price, it's mostly because they're usually more modern, and people think that if they're more modern, they're probably in better shape. But you can find a 500 CM that is in better shape inside than a 503 CW. So I recommend going for the 500 CW. Yeah, like Daniel says, I'd say the difference is just age. The floating mirror is a cherry on top, but not needed. Yeah, but the floating mirror is in the lens, so you can just put whatever modern lens on the 500 CM. So you got the floating mirror, floating thingy on there. I just like the idea of having a Hasselblad 501 CM from 2002. I actually have a 501C, which is a loan of mine. So shoot whatever you want. I just actually going to receive a 500 CM tomorrow. I have a 500 ELM there that was cheap. It's the Moon edition, like some special edition for something like that. So get whatever you want, but I recommend the 500 CM as a good price. Let's say price, quality, age, mechanics are all, you know, in a good balance. And if you really want to save money, get the 500C. They're great cameras. The later ones, 500C, already had the interchangeable focusing screen. And some people pointed out like a 500CM, but it's a C. Just check it out and you'll find them. Then he asks question 1B. Let's say I buy a Hasselblad body. Will all lenses fit the 500? If so, which one is a good all-around lens that is not too pricey? He says from a 90 to a 150. The Hasselblads all came with a standard lens, which was an 80 millimeter, and it's the basically all-rounder. It's one of the best. The next one that everyone used to have was the 150 and the 50. So not all lenses will fit on all Hasselblads. You got to be careful you don't buy one of the Hasselblad's F series, because those don't have the shutter inside the lens. They have the shutter on the focal plane of the camera. So the difference is, I don't have it here, but you'll see that on the ring here, like it has like the speeds on the Hasselblad, and then the lenses have a different naming, and usually they're mostly 2.8 lenses, like a 50 2.8, a 150 2.8. They're way more I say luminosos. I don't know how to say that in English. They have more light go through them. So those won't mount on the V series, like I said. And but the V series lenses will mount on the other ones, but they have like a special click that you have to put them on. It's like a green little tab. So yeah, I would say you get a 500C CM, get an 80. You can get the cheapest version was the C, the silver color. Then you had the C in black with the T as coating. Then you had the CF, which was the one that started using the Bay 60. They changed the bayonet mount for filters and lens hoods. And then they have the CFI, which is the super modern plasticky lens. I don't like the feeling of that. The front of that has like a rubber grip that's terrible. The 500 CF already has that plastic grip, and they tend to just come loose and break. So you're gonna have to end up putting like a leatherette or something, or a rubber grip, or maybe you can get one of those those TAAB focusing rings that are kind of like the Leica little like button there. So yeah, those, I don't like those. The CF and the CFI, they're not my favorite lenses, even though they are the most modern. And then he asked, is there, so 500C with 80, 2.8 from Zeiss, I guess 1,000 to 1,200 euros here. 500 CM with a 2.8, if you look around, you'll get it for 600 euros in Europe. So don't be too concerned. Just have your patience. Check Camera Ventures, check MK Optics. They're in the Netherlands. They have really good prices and they're like affordable. You can check in England now with the pound and the Brexit is actually good for camera shopping. Check F Fords, it's 2Fs, FF Fords. You can check the Leica store, and there's like a Leica something in England. Just check it out. But a 500 CM with an 80, you can get for 600 to 1,000 euros. I wouldn't go past that. I won't say how much I paid for the one that's coming tomorrow, but it's extremely cheap. But it was a friend kind of giving me some help for my new studio. So yeah, I'll do a little unboxing on the Instagram so you guys can see. And the second question he asked, which is the same guy, Humberset Photo, which is Spain, from Norway. Oops, computer went to sleep. Is there places that repair old medium formats? Will it cost more than new body? For instance, my Mamia RZ 67, used body in okay conditions, 270 euros at keh.com. I bet repair will cost more. That's a tricky question. I mean, depending on what cameras you're buying, repairs are going to be more expensive. Like if you buy 6x12 camera, repairs are going to be cheap probably because it's going to be the lens. There's nothing to the camera. Even though this one has a faulty 6x12 back, which I'm going to try to fix myself. If you're buying, I'm telling you, if you're buying something like this, the body can be almost 1,000 euros. A repair can be 200 maybe, and I paid 200 and they repaired it and it didn't come out good. It broke after like 2 rolls, so that came out expensive. Depending on the price. I mean, if you buy a Mamia RZ 67 and it breaks for 270 euros, you can get a replacement. I wouldn't fix it. But there are places in Europe. I know a few in Spain. I don't know any others around Europe, but you can ask in forums and places and you'll find it easily. Appug is a good place to ask, or photo.net, places like that, will, or maybe some Facebook groups. Just Facebook groups lately have gone everywhere else, but useful information. Question number 3, and I'll finish with this email. I just bought a Nikon F100. It will fit modern Nikon lenses and will because of that probably take super sharp images given the technological steps in the lens industry. Be careful with digital lenses and film. You won't get exactly what you expect from film. Like, film is not as sharp as that digital crispiness. It's different. Are there similar film bodies in other brands that can do the same? Canon, Pentax, Fuji? Of course. If you get the latest cameras from the main brands, Canon had the 1V, you had the 1N, even the F1 will take, well, the F line, it takes the FD lenses, which are great and cheap. Pentax, I'm not up to the current models, but I have an MV somewhere there and they works great. Fuji, also not up to current things, but you can probably get Olympus. The OM work great. There's the OM4, I think the TI, which is titanium or something like that. There's all kinds of brands and good lenses that can still work. Like if you buy Canon 1V and you buy the 50mm 1.2L lens, it'll work and it'll focus probably faster. The Nikon F100 was the cheapest of the Pro line. You had the F4 and the F5 and the F6. Funny thing is, back in the day when I was shooting some digital, I had a friend with a Nikon D3 and I had a D700, and this D3 focused extremely fast compared to my D700. And then I bought an F5 and I mounted my lenses. I had like the 105 f2. I think f2 or 2.5, I can't remember. The DC, which is like the defocus control. And I had the 50-1.4 and I had some other lenses. And I was very surprised that my Nikon F4 and F5 focused way faster than my digital Nikons. No, I had only one, the D3 or the D700. So you'll be surprised how fast you can focus on those modern, probably on Canon 1V, and also the Canon 5 would focus with your eye. So you would look at what you wanted to focus and it would focus there. No digital camera can do that nowadays. I don't know why they stopped doing that, but that must have been cool. And I'm actually looking now to get a Canon 1NRS that will shoot 10 frames per second, and it doesn't have a mirror. Instead of having a mirror, it has a pellicle, I don't know if I'm saying that right, like screen. So you kind of like, you know, the broadcasting when the people are talking to their news, not like me, which I talk to camera and there's no news, there's just on the paper, but they're seeing that screen and the news are coming, but you can't see that through the camera. That's kind of what it works like. So you're able to shoot and you won't get that mirror blocking, and you can shoot up to 10 frames. So no blind spot when you're shooting, which is interesting. So you can shoot 10 frames a second of film and there's no blackout. So yeah, there are lenses like that. Another question someone asked me the other day was, I posted a video of my studio. I have a little fridge and it's packed with film, and they were like, oh, do you have to keep film in the fridge? I made a video, I think last weekend I posted it, about using expired film. As you guys know, film is made out of gelatin and there's an emulsion with chemicals in it, and this degrades the moment it comes out of the factory and they make it. You're welcome for your questions, and thank you for asking. So this, once it's made, it starts degrading. So putting it in the cold will help slow down that process. It won't stop it. Someone was saying today at the Instagram at DR5, the people that do that black and white chromes, that you have to keep it at -10. I don't know if it was probably Fahrenheit. But film will slowly degrade whatever you do. And putting it in cold will help prevent that or slow it down. So I store the film I can fit on my fridge in a fridge. And if I had a freezer, I would put it in a freezer. Just beware of the no frost, meltdowns, ice and stuff like that, and have your film either in Ziploc bags or not touching anything that can make it wet. Because even though 35 comes in a plastic little capsule, medium format usually does, but maybe you don't have it out of it. Large format will condensate if you're not careful, even though Kodak does put it in like a sleeve that's protected from temperature and humidity. Humidity and dust in their factory. But like FOMA only puts in a plastic sleeve. And maybe you open pack film, like the peel apart Fuji stuff will also have problems if you store it like sideways instead of flat, because the pod will go to the side and end up drying out. So yeah, I recommend you put it in the fridge if you can, but if you have a lot of film or you don't have a fridge to use, you're okay. Just buy fresh film, use it, and don't store it for too long, especially during summer. I mean, if I live in Spain, it's not too hot, at least where I live. But if you live somewhere that's extremely hot, just remember to keep it in a cool cabinet in the dark if you can, and use it as fast as you can, and just buy more. So yeah, that was basically, I think, the questions I had from this week. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask now live, it's the moment to do so. And I'll be doing a few videos. I don't know if you guys want to see the little bit of how my studio is today, because it's kind of a mess. What's the idea for what I want to make in the studio? I could make a short intro as how it is now and what I'm going to build for the studio, what I've built already. I have to build a whole darkroom. I have to build the whole water part of the darkroom, like the plumbing, the air out, air in. I have to build desk. I'm gonna have a digital station so people can scan, because my idea is to share it with other people. I'm gonna build some furniture to use in the studio, shelving, storage, things like that. So if you guys want to see how it is now and how it progresses, I might open a playlist on YouTube, like a studio or Nico's studio or something like that, so you guys can see how it goes. So we have a question saying, have you ever tested the Chamonix Sabre? I actually have not. For those who don't know, the Chamonix Sabre is a 4x5 that the Chamonix built out of Polaroid 250s. That was the Polaroid body, but they refurbished it to admit 4x5 film and the special backs. And also they put like a large format lens, like a 125, 135. They were awesome. I was on the waiting list for one, but when the time came and they came out with more of the stock, I had already got the travel wide, which is kind of a very cheap version of the Chamonix, and I canceled my pre-order. Well, it wasn't a pre-order. I canceled my, like, you know, my request, and I moved to something cheaper. I haven't seen many on eBay, but I've seen a few on the large format forum, but they usually sell for, I mean, they were sold for $1,200, $1,300, so they're usually a little premium. Spain has another question. Let me see. I had a vintage lens from the 20s. Yeah, they were usually sold with a 125 or 135 and modern lenses. That's what they were thought about. Spain has another question. I shot 4 rolls of FOMA 400 and all of them jammed after the last image was taken. Had to open the back and lost 2 frames of each. Could it be a bad batch? Was it 35 or 120? That's the first question I would say. And I don't know if that should, I mean, I've never heard of film screwing up inside your camera. I have seen a few problems with cheap film like Shanghai 120 on, a friend got it into a Linhof 6x17 and he had a problem with the backing paper. It kind of all like folded like accordion, and it just like jammed the camera, almost broke it, even though there's no pieces to the inside of a Linhof 6x17. So yeah, I've never had a problem with that. But let me know if it's a 135 or 120. A Saber with a Ceranar S would be amazing. Yeah, that's what I would like. And now I have Ceranar S lenses and I don't have the Chamonix. Maybe I should ask them at factory to make me one. That would be pretty sweet. Oscar asks, wait, sorry. Spain says 120. Just make sure you loaded it right. Maybe you had a problem with tape or something like that, but it shouldn't be a problem. I've never heard of that. Just try it on a different camera, see if it's an issue of the camera or the film. Oscar asks, do you know of any 50mm rangefinder lens that focuses down to 0.5? The Zeiss Icon ZM rangefinder goes down to 0.5, but the 25 Biogon is the only lens that goes that close. I actually don't know of any. I have a Zeiss, and I didn't know it went down to 0.5 meters. I don't know of any 50. I think it would be much of an issue to go so close in a rangefinder with a long lens. As you guys know, rangefinder lenses focus with a rangefinder, which is split image. Sorry, I was reading. Basically, the longer the lens, the harder it is to focus up close, so you gotta be careful. Tao says he thinks the 28 ZM also does. You can probably find the information on Call Zeiss. They still have the information for the Zeiss Icon and their lenses up online, and as they're still selling the lenses, they probably have all the details there. So I think that's what I would check it out. So sorry I can't help you. Dashan says, are you active with large format? Appears 35-120 is your preferred choice of recent videos. That's a good question. I have been shooting large format. It's just currently with the whole moving the studio. I mean, I shoot my kids on 35 all the time. When I think they look especially, let's say cute. That sounds like the word I would say. I bring out like the RZ, or I bring out the Pentax, or I bring out the Hasselblad, and I shoot portraits of them if they let me, which is hard. But I am shooting large format. Actually, this Saturday, my idea is to shoot the Pentax 6x7 with some friends, and then I'm going to shoot the family with 8x10 and Impossible film. So I am active, and now that I have a studio, I'm going to have the cameras on tripods there ready. I'm going to have a Cinar P2 4x5, 5x7, 8x10, so I can change between formats easily. I'm going to have the Chamonix 11x14 always ready there. I'm going to have the Chamonix 4x5 always ready there. I'm going to have, what was I going to say? I'm going to have some other cameras. The Graflex with the Aero Ector ready there. I'm going to have the ZI only couples down to 0.7, so anything closer that you use mirrorless or measure. Sorry, I must have Okay, sorry. I was missing a question. Austin was, what's hand holding the RZ67 like? Trying to decide between that and the Pentax 6x7. I've heard the Pentax can suffer from motion blur. Basically, the mirror on both kind of hit extremely hard as they're big 6x7 mirrors. The RZ67 is probably bigger because it's a 7x7 because you can fold it into both ways. But I don't think there's a big motion blur. I shoot up to 1/60th and it's not being an issue. If you're shooting slower than 1/60th, you can use mirror lockup and still shoot. But if I was shooting that slow, I would use a tripod, so it wouldn't be a big issue. I don't think it's a big problem unless you're shooting really slow, and then you shouldn't be shooting handheld. So I don't think it's a big problem. Mirror vibration is overblown. I've never had a problem with it. And Abe is saying he has had problems with the mirror. I've had more problems with shallow depth of field than mirror vibration. Like it's just, it doesn't work well. Like you know, like the depth of field on a 6x7 at 2.8 or 2.4, which is the max aperture on their most luminous lenses, is extremely shallow. So I've had more issues with that than mirror going boo and shaking. Plus, there's a slow-mo video on the Pentax, and the big slap is not when the mirror goes up, but when the mirror comes back down. So it kind of hits, and it's not so strong, and when it comes down, it's when it shakes. There's also a Canon video, like a slow-mo, where you can see the mirror goes up, it doesn't really hit very hard, and then when it comes down, it wobbles all around. So I think it's more of an issue when it comes down. On the Mamia, I couldn't tell you. I haven't had a problem myself, so I can't tell you. Both cameras are awkward to handhold depending on the situation. They are not walk-around cameras. Both heavy and awkward, not very ergonomic. Abe says have a Nikon HC50 2.0 LTM, which is Leica thread mount lens that goes really close. I want to say 0.5, but I don't think it's rangefinder coupled at the close focal distance. I was talking about the Pentax. If you have any questions about the Pentax 6x7 too, I can help you about it. I'm telling you, mine is broken, and it's the advanced lever is jammed, and it's a problem that happens with a lot of them. This is the 150 2.8. Not a lot of people talk about the 150 2.8. Don't know why. I bought this for like 80 bucks, and it's a 2.8 150, so it has to be good. Probably a little soft at 2.8. But yeah, so that's the problem that you can have with these cameras is, to me, depth of field more than slow shutter. What have you found to be the most portable medium format? Oh, nice, you bought it a month ago. If it's good, your Pentax will be great. So just keep on using it, and if it breaks, get a 6x7. It's much cheaper, and it works really well too. What have you found to be the most portable medium format camera? The most portable, probably the foldable ones, the old, the Iskra, there's the Moskva, there's a bunch of these old folders, the Mamia 6, the original one that had the Mamia 6, though it wouldn't focus with the front, it would focus with the back. It would move a plate. They're extremely tiny. They're probably as tiny as like 4 rolls of 135, like something like this. Apart from that, what I would say is the most small per big amount of film in SLRs is the Hasselblad. They're small and tiny. If you see the Bronicas compared to the Hasselblad, they're huge. I have the Rolleiflex SL66. It's also big. It also does more things than the Hasselblad. And also you have the TLRs, like 20 Focar says, the Rolleiflex, the Yashica TLRs, there's this European one, I'm forgetting now, from the Czech Republic, that's also very small, and they're good. Yeah, like Tao says, the Voigtlinger, Perkeras, the Pearls, the Icontas, The 645s are smaller and very portable. I had a Fuji GA 645W, and it was very portable and small. It was like a small Leica. My advanced, Ramiro says, my advanced lever in my Pentax 6.7 broke too, and the repair was 400 euros. Yeah, that happens. I was watching a video today of Ed Pavez, the guy that's, I think he's from Chile, and he makes videos in YouTube in Spanish and English. And he was shooting a Mamia 7, and they were shooting, and when they shot, they would advance the lever and let go, and it would just slam back. If you're going to be shooting these cameras, try to be careful, and when you advance, help it back. Don't just let it go and let it slam back. That's what's going to break this in the back, and you're going to have to repair it on the Mamia 6, on the Mamia 7, on the Pentax 6x7. These cameras, treat them gently. Even if you're shooting fast, just go shoot and come back with the lever so you won't have that problem. Also, you're asking about smaller, portable, medium format. There's the Bronica RF 645, which is rangefinder, makes horrible noise when you shoot, but it's small and has interchangeable lenses, 645, all the modern things you would expect, like metering, center weighted metering. It has, I think you advance yourself, but it has like every kind of thing. You can shoot at aperture priority and stuff like that. Eric says the Mamia 7 is small. The Mamia 7 is lightweight. I wouldn't say it's small because the lens won't come in. If you use the Mamia 6, that will fold in, the second version, not the old one. The Mamia will fold in. It has a little bellows inside, which I never thought it did, but it does. And it folds real small. The Mamia 6 with the 75, the lens hood flips around and screws back on in a bayonet. And the lens cap has, or the body cap has space for 4 batteries, so you can have extra spares, which I thought was brilliant. To me, the most innovative and interesting manufacturer, if I ever had to say, is Mamia. So that's why the RZ is probably my favorite. And I love the TLRs. I love the Mamia 7 and 6. I think they're smartest making cameras and solutions. I would have loved to see an SLR 6x6 by Mamia. Okay, let's see. I can slip my Fuji also. The Fuji GF670 is real small. It folds tiny. I always forget that camera because it's pretty modern and I tend to forget. But yeah, that one is pretty small. The bad thing is you can't fold it with the lens hood or with a filter. So every time you want to fold the camera, you got to put the filter and the lens hood and fold it again and unfold it. And that to me is enough of a reason not to use it. Wow, just looked up the price of the Bronica RF 645, much higher than I expected. I bought that camera years ago with the 45, I think, for 600 euros, and I know that was cheap. And but they have gone up. They are the latest, the most modern, probably medium format, except for the GF 670 from Fuji and the Voigtlander, which is the same camera. Bellamy Hunt made an article on the Bronica RF 645 saying like the camera everyone forgot because it came out when digital was hitting hard, and it just, you know, kind of like made it disappear. Svein asks, what was the use of the Fuji 680? It's huge and bulky and there must be better options out there. Expensive too. The Fuji 680 I think was a camera for studio, and it was made to do, you know, product shots and movements and things like that. It was meant to live on a studio tripod, which is not the same as a normal tripod. I call it studio column because they're like this column and it has an arm and you can move it around and up and down and it's effortless. It's not a walk around camera. It was not like a camping camera. Is it great for architecture? I've never used it for architecture, but I guess you can. I think you can even change the bellows, or I don't know. But they are humongous cameras, so I would never use that. Maybe could justify using it for architecture if you felt ambitious. if you're gonna go into that for architecture, I would just say get a 4x5 camera. You can get like a CNR F2 or P2. F2 is much cheaper, back bellows, and you can put any lens you want. You can put any medium format back you want, and you can shoot easily, and it's much cheaper. CNR F2, you can get them for like 300 bucks. So, and then you can buy any lens, and those lenses you buy, if you ever upgrade to a bigger camera, a smaller camera, a field camera, or anything like that, those lenses will go with you. They'll migrate. If you buy a Fuji 680 to do architecture because it's medium format and it's cheaper roll film and you can do slides and it's not so expensive, you don't have to import from Japan, after a certain amount of time, you're going to be like, oh, this is too big and bulky, I want a large format camera. You're going to have to sell it all, and no one's going to want to buy it all, and you're going to have to buy a 4x5. So I'd say 4x5 if you want to go. 680 is not a bad price-wise. People don't seem to want them. I'm telling you, I've had one in my hand, and I imagined it huge, but it was much, much, much bigger than I ever imagined, and I have big cameras. I would say it lives as in size as an 8x10. You probably need a backpack that's bigger than an 8x10 backpack. The lenses are big. The lenses are like heavy. The camera's heavy. The backs are huge and heavy. Then there's, as you guys have probably looked up, there's some versions that take like special batteries, and those are hard to find. Then there's the modern version that has the double A's, and it uses like 25 of them or something like that. So, not that it's a bad camera, it's an awesome camera. Just nowadays in 2017 is, yeah, the RZ67 is real small compared, and the RZ67 is a big camera. In 2017, I would just suggest look somewhere else unless you really, really, really want it. And if you can get your hands on one, test it before. I'm gonna get my hands on it, and I want to make a video about it so you guys can see the whole system. I should actually put that down on paper and remember to call the guy that has it and test it out for you guys. But it's huge, it's awesome, but it's too much, I think, for nowadays. But yeah, if I had to do architecture, I have the architecture lenses for the RZ, and it's pretty much pointless because it's a 75 only, and it will shift, but it's not too wide, and it just becomes such a bulky camera. The 75, I'll bring it out for next video. If the body is this big, the 75 is probably like this much more, like almost a phone more, and then it's like as fat as the whole camera all the way through. At the end, you have to take a huge tripod with a geared head so you can properly adjust it. The ball heads don't work well with architecture, and that makes it huge, and you end up using 4x5. So yeah, if you want a 680, get it, but don't say I told you it wasn't big. Any other questions or anything like that? We are running almost out of time, so take advantage, ask anything you want. Yeah, for example, the Hasselblad electronic camera isn't that huge compared to the RZ. It's pretty much the same, but the 680 is. There's a guy on Flickr that posted pictures of the Fuji 680 next to like 3 cameras. I think it's the Hasselblad, the RZ, and it's humongous. Oh, sorry, for your information, Da Big Shan Mountain, Big Mountain Photography. Da Shan Shei. Oh my god, I wish I could speak languages. I'm sorry, guys. Your names, I'm not saying they're easy or hard, but yeah, Big Mountain Photography. Just put Big Mountain Photography, I'll remember that much easier. And Mario says Mamia FTW. I wish I knew what that is. If you guys maybe are questioning, some people don't really understand. I live and I was born in Spain to a British mom and an American wife. So all the slang and all that, goes through me. I don't understand it half the times, and when people write down like little words like the LOL, it took me forever to understand what it meant. And if you ever travel somewhere else and live somewhere else, you'll understand, yeah, for the win, thank you, what it is to not understand slang. It's kind of hard, even though it looks like maybe I was born in the States or lived there, never lived there. I live in a small town north of Spain. You can look it up. It's Bilbao, where the Guggenheim is, the museum. But yeah, so thanks. De acuerdo. There's some Spanish people that also speak great English, so thanks for helping me out. But yeah, if you guys don't have any more questions, I guess I'll call it the end here, and I'll see you next week. I will have the sessions for the studio photography I'll do this weekend uploaded probably during the weekend. If that impossible 8x10 from Costa Rica, hola, Costa Rica. If the impossible 8x10, you'll probably see me figuring it out, loading it up, probably screwing it up at 17 euros a shot, developing it for almost an hour, and yeah, so hopefully I won't screw it up. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Thank you for everyone. Camera Ventures is there, which if you haven't checked, Camera Ventures has a great like Indiegogo campaign for the future of film. I helped them translate the Spanish version for them. I think it's good. We all should check it out. I'm actually going to be, I don't know, there with them. I'm posted as one of the people collaborating, which is awesome. Talking about large format photography and anything like that. So go support them. I know it's like a big endeavor and it looks kind of crazy, but I think Yuho behind Camera Ventures is a crazy guy, and that's the kind of crazy we need. So yeah, I recommend you check it out. You can buy a ticket to see, it's going to be like TED Talks on film. Bellamy's going to be there. Hamish Hill's going to be there. Abe from Film Lab app is going to be there, which Abe also has that Kickstarter finishing today for that film scanner with your phone. I'm not getting paid to say any of this, just in case someone decides to say, hey, you guys are just plugging. I'm talking about people that I really support what they do. I do other things for my living, and I always say things I like, even if it goes against my own personal interest, because I think it's good. Another time he lost his camera on the plane, I'm sorry. Algo en español. Bueno, os digo adiós y hasta la próxima. Gracias.